All right, everyone, you may remember David Brock is that dude who, after the last election, the Democrats are like, please don't do stuff for us anymore, because his attempt to shill online, like I think, what was it, Shill Blue or Corrupt the Record, or one of these groups was the one he was running. And they use bots, and they pay people to shitpost online basically a bunch of lies. They do this with regards to YouTubers on a fairly regular basis because they're really terrified of like the right wing and associated anti-left lexicon of YouTube, because they look at the audience numbers in the US and it's in the tens of millions and can actually influence people. I think they're worried about losing Generation Z permanently. The Democrats, that is. And so David Brock, who's, he's got the weird hair and stuff. He looks a little bit like a less smart version of Einstein at this point. He has to come out and run interference for them. But he got 200,000 of his own money, together with a $500,000 from one of his mega donors. And so they rolled together, a large six-figure sum. And they tried to use this money to get a sex scandal going with Donald Trump. I guess the idea was to go out and try to find people that would be willing to claim, oh yeah, Trump, harassed me, Trump groped me, Trump raped me, stuff like that. And they couldn't find anything. They wasted their enormous chunk of money. Now, David Brock is rich as hell anyway, I think, so it's shit to him. But it is pretty funny. When you can't even pay to get a sex scandal going, you know that you've got a problem. At that point, the entire narrative that the hashtag resist people follow through with really falls apart, because their idea is, well, Trump he's really, really sexually depraved. But the thing is, the only reason that nobody said that before, they just said, well, he's a womanizer, he's committed adultery. But it's going to be really, really funny to see like the Democratic Party proclaim that that's actually a bad thing. I don't think that line will work for them, given you've got your own similar things going on with basically all of the Democrats. Like high-powered people, they tend to be into that sort of weird stuff. They do it. They do the party boys or the womanizing thing, and they do the drug thing, and they do the alcohol thing. So when Trump brags with his locker room talk, supposedly with Billy Bush, and who knows if it's true or not, he's referencing consensual behavior involving just adults, but they want to turn that into a larger scandal. Like, they thought that would sink his presidential campaign, which is like the funniest thing ever. It's like, no, I don't think that that's going to happen. Like, his odds of winning declined by like 2 points maybe because of the Billy Bush stuff. Fuck the poll that says he's down 7 points. It's not going to matter in a week. People will have forgotten it, and some people will find it humorous, actually. And his fans will just see it as a wanton attack, a really underhanded, dirty one that, honestly, that's kind of true. It's like when people are referencing Bubba Bill and his own problems with regards to Clinton. It's like, no, Clinton's got her own problems. Talking about the fact that Bubba Bill happened to sexually assault people back in the 1980s and 90s is not going to sink her presidential campaign. She will sink her presidential campaign, then blame everyone else for it. I think Bill's the only other person in the world, other than herself, that she hasn't yet blamed for it. You and I are responsible because, anyone who voted for Trump, you didn't vote for Hillary, you sat home, you're responsible. That means everyone outside of the U.S. too, because they're all like Russian agents, I guess. It's basically Hillary Clinton versus the world. I feel very sorry for her. But David Brock, once again, has failed. And that's, I think, the funniest thing ever, because he failed during the election too. The old style of paid to post stuff doesn't work as well as memetics works. Because even though it's more organic and thus more chaotic and harder to control, all it has to do is be talented. It has to be funny, but if your presidential campaign is not funny, if your candidate is very sour and low charisma, literally low T, or maybe high T in Clinton's sense, who knows? You never know what she gets up to. There's going to be a problem. You're not going to get the funny memes. You're not going to get the funny jokes. But with Trump, it's like everything he says basically was taken as a joke even by his opponents, which just makes everything about him very funny and energetic, and, 2020 will probably be about the same. It might be a little bit more scaled back. After 4 years of the presidency, trips to the Mar-a-Lago to go golfing and sleep in aside, he's still going to be more tired than the Trump that we saw before, at least in the first debate. Up until then, after that, he might fall into step and really rev it up, but the first time you see him, don't expect it to be Trump, running around the stage like maybe before and making small hands and penis jokes. It's probably not going to happen. David Brock, meanwhile, though, again, he's failed. It's sad because at this point, his group is predominantly focused on fucking around with the alt media. That is literally shilling online, shitposting, trolling in a general sense. That's what they do. And when you have millions of dollars of donor money, you can easily do that. It's people who think that it's some grand conspiracy. No, it's money talks. He sets up a call center. He sets up a center where people are online or on the phones or something, and goes off and hires them to sow discord and chaos to pick off the enemies of the DNC. And while it's dirty and underhanded, you almost have to respect it as part of American-style politicking. It's sort of a combination yellow journalism, muckraking, and it is. It's what happens if you think the GOP doesn't do the same thing. No, of course they do. It's just that Trump didn't have any need to, because he realized he could just brand himself, make basically the presidential campaign into a WrestleMania-style thing, and he wouldn't need to do that. He didn't need ads. He'd get plenty of free airtime. The media would talk about him incessantly, even if it was negative. But at the very least, nobody was talking about his opponent. She could never formulate an actual platform. Only her core fans ever knew what the hell she stood for, other than glass ceiling and, hey, I collapsed into a van on 9/11 like a sack of potatoes. So it's funny to see David Brock waste his money. He should have just hired, he should have taken that 700 grand and hired, 70,000 hours of shitposting. It would have actually been better. Or meme research. At this point, when the Pentagon is talking about creating a weaponized meme program, and that's not even bullshit, it's actually real, and they talk about it openly, and we're going to weaponize the memes, boys, at that point, it's got to be affecting politics. Like, when they say, well, it doesn't really affect things, the online world's sort of semi-separate from reality. No. It affects real-world discourse, it affects real-world behavior. And they're always willing to attack the internet when it's something explicitly negative. Like, oh, the internet caused Nazi attack. The internet caused son to overdose on heroin, something like that. The internet causes all the problems, but it has none of the power or the virtues. They don't want to ascribe that to the internet, because it's just a little bit too far out for them. It's very, very funny. So better luck next time to David Brock. When you have that much money, why don't you just do what normal political people do? Embezzle it. Take your donor cash and then go to Bermuda or go to Belize or to the UAE and just live a life of absolute luxury, and you don't even have to deal with this shit anymore. You can literally eat caviar nonstop 24/7. You'll never run out of money at all, and then you can invest it as well in probably some cartel or something. That's what a Bill Clinton would do. Brock should do that as well. I think it would be a more wise use of his money. That's about all. Peace out.